Okay, so we are not going to do part A first. Yep. Because whenever given a function given to you, okay, if you want to talk about answer part B and part C, correct? The domain part is a very important issue. Understand? The domain is very important. So you are given this function. Over 2 square root of x. Okay. So the domain, whenever you talk about rational function, the domain is very important, correct? And when you see square root, there are two things that you have to bear in mind. So that is, because the square root is at the bottom, so we must say x for domain. Because square root is at the bottom, so we must say x must be greater than 0. So that is the domain. Whatever in the square root must be greater than 0. So therefore, the domain is x. X is a member of real number, and x must be greater than 0. So straight away, I know that x less than or equal to 0, this function is undefined. So from here, I extend my thought that for x less than or equal to 0, y is undefined. Clear? Okay, that is how we should have the idea of domain. Okay, done with that. That is, when you look at the function, you have to recognize the function. You have to know the function. What is it all about? Domain is a very important issue. Even before you do the differentiation or so on. Are you clear? Okay, done. So now, when we talk about part A, how are we going to find? Oh, sorry. Do you know Miss Do write the wrong function? Miss Do, what are you doing today? Do you know I write down the wrong function? I look at part A and write down the function and no one tell me. Okay, don't blame on others, blame on yourself, Miss Do. Okay, so square root of x and 3 minus x squared. Okay, so since for this case, the domain can be equal to 0. So that means x less than 0, the function is undefined. Can or not? Okay, done? Hello? Okay, good. Can I? Okay, so I've done with that. So sorry, okay. So now, if you want to differentiate this, what rule are you going to use? Okay. You say you are going to use product rule. I'm going to show you, I don't have to use product rule. Okay, I just need to expand. Oh, it's square. Okay, sorry. So if I don't want to use product rule, I can also expand and get the answer. So if you want to use product rule also, okay, up to you. Yeah, sorry. So you see, I make mistake again. Just because just now I upload the wrong file to the wrong group and make me upside down with it. Okay, so you can use product rule and do, or if you don't want to use product rule, you can also expand and use the normal simple rule. Can or not? Okay, everyone try. You can try both methods. This one, I do expansion, okay? It's okay, up to you. So you just do your method, I do my method. Then we see how. Okay. All right. So I factorize it. 3 minus, here is 5x, here is x, right? Over 2 root x. So I can do it like that without using product rule. Can or not? I just expand and get the answer. Okay? And for the dy dx function, correct? Listen up. For the dy dx function, because the square root is at the bottom, correct? So for dy dx function, the domain, so dy dx function, the domain will be different from the y. So it will be x. X is a member or real number, and x must be greater than 0. It cannot be 0. Are you clear? Because it's divided by square root of x. So that will be the domain for dy dx. So the domain is this. Okay? So you can use product rule and get the answer also can. You will get the same answer. Yeah? Okay, done with that. Okay, can I move? Okay, I will come back to the sign diagram later on. Okay, now you look. I want to talk about part B. Part B said that find the x coordinate of all the points in y for this function y where the tangent is horizontal. So just now the other class I explained what do you mean by horizontal tangent? Means the gradient of that tangent is equal to 0. Understand? So the moment you see horizontal tangent, you know the gradient already. Straight away, you know that its gradient is 0. Which means that if you put dy dx equal to 0, you find the value of x. Because dy dx is the gradient function. Okay, so just now we get our dy dx is equal to 3 minus x, 3 minus 5x. Hey. the whole thing over 2 square root of x, correct? So we equate this equal to 0. Yeah. So if you cross multiply, anything multiplied by 0, you get 0. Am I right? So you have 3 minus x, 3 minus 5x is equal to 0. So your x will be equal to 3 and your x equal to 3 over 5. So these are the 2 points that the tangent is horizontal. Yeah. Okay. For what value of x is dy dx undefined? That one you get from the domain of y. All right. So dy dx, and or you get from the function of dy dx. Dy dx is undefined, whereby you look at the domain for dy dx. Correct? Here. That is not in the domain. That will make dy dx undefined. Are you clear? So dy dx is undefined for x less than or equal to 0. So settle the whole question. Are you okay? Okay, huh? Got it? Okay, so now we want to talk about sign diagram. Everyone, you all should know. Okay, I let you settle first. Okay, settle whatever you need to settle. Can I proceed? From this question, I go to sign diagram. Would that be okay? Any question? No, huh? Okay, now. Okay, let's look at the function y equal to square root of x 3 minus x squared. Okay, so first we want to draw the sign diagram. We must have the domain first, correct? So we know that x must be greater than or equal to 0. Must be greater than or so a sign diagram, I told you already, is a straight line that represents the x-axis or y-axis? X-axis, correct? So a sign diagram is a straight line that represents the x-axis. So the domain is x greater than 0, right? So you put a dotted line, you put a full line. So I'm going to draw the sign diagram for y function onward. That is called x greater than 0. So this shows the domain. So first step, draw the domain. For that function. Domain means x-axis. Okay. Then after that, second step, what should you do? Find the x-intercept. Okay, please find the x-intercepts or x-intercepts. So in this case means square root of x times 3 minus x, the whole thing square equal to 0. Am I right? So square root of x equal to 0. So x equal to 0. This is one of the x-intercept. And 3 minus x squared equal to 0. Which means that 3 minus x is 0. If not, the square won't be 0. Am I right? So what is the value of our x? 3. So we are supposed to mark these two x-intercept on our sign diagram, the line. So I mark the 0 is there already. So I mark down the 3. Yep. Okay, now, how am I going to determine the sign? Okay, third step. Determine the sign. For each region. There are how many regions here? The x-axis is divided by the x-intercept into 2 regions. Am I right? So the first region is talking about x between 0 and 3. Am I right? Yes? X between 0 and 3. So this is the first region. So you can take any value from this region, you put inside the y function, then you test. So I take x equal to 1. Can or not? So I take x equal to 1. Square root of 1 times by 3 minus 1 squared. I get positive or negative? So I put a positive sign here. So second region is here. All right? My x is greater than 3. So I can take any value greater than 3. Then I put into my y. Square root of, okay, just take 4 times by 3 minus 4 square. Any square will be positive, correct? And the square root is also positive, so it's greater than 0. So the sign is positive. Got it? That is called how you do the sign diagram. Okay, when we have our graphic calculator, we will know how to test the region, whether it's positive or negative, use our graphic calculator quickly. So next Thursday, I will teach you how to do that. So next Thursday, everyone must have your graphic calculator with you. So next Thursday, after your SAT Wednesday, correct? So Thursday, 2 lessons, I'm going to teach you how to use your graphic calculator. Everyone have to bring your graphic calculator. So Thursday and Friday, we are going to acquire all the graphic calculator skill. Okay, so please, you must have your graphic calculator. Can or not? Okay, and I will advise you, please come for the physical class so that I can show you step by step how to use a graphic calculator. Yeah. And if you want to know how to use a graphic calculator, actually you can go to YouTube. You can prepare yourself. After your Wednesday test, right? You can prepare yourself that night. Just browse through how to use a graphic calculator. A lot. Yeah. Okay. Good. So understand? Okay. So now I want to show you how to draw the sign diagram for dy dx. Same thing also. Shall we? Okay. So now I have my dy dx. This is my function for dy dx. That is 3 minus x, 3 minus 5x over 2 square root of x. And we know that the domain for this one is x. X is a member or real number. Sorry. Cannot write cursive word. Real number and x must be greater than 0. Am I right? 0 is not included for this case. Close. Okay. So I want to draw the sign diagram, correct? So start. This is a sign diagram for dy dx. So I write down. So 0, I must put a dotted line because 0 is not included. Onward. So this is your x-axis. Are you okay? So now, first step done. Okay, second step, you have to find the value of x that will make dy dx equal to 0, correct? Whatever function you want to draw the sign diagram, you have to find the x-intercept of that function. So second step, I have to find the value of x that result dy over dx equal to 0. All right. So we have done it there already. There is x equal to 3 and x equal to 3 over 5. Am I right? So now you mark 3 over 5 and 3 here. No need, just mark it. So now these two values of x that make dy dx equal to 0, divide the domain into 3 regions. Am I right? So now we have to test the sign. So how to test the sign? So now I'm going to write the region. Instead of write the region, I'm going to write in a mathematical form. So the first region is x between 0 and 3 over 5. 3 over 5 is 0.6, correct? So I want to test. So I choose a number that is less than 0.6. So 0.2, up to you. So I put there 3 minus 0.2. 3 minus 5 times 0.2. Divide by 2 square root of 0.2. Correct? So you can imagine you don't need a calculator to do the calculation. This is positive. Am I right? This is also positive because 5 times 0.2. Do you know now why I choose 0.2? Yeah, is 1. So 3 minus 1 is positive. Down here is definitely positive. So this region will be positive. You see how I test? Without calculator, that is how you test. Okay? So for the next region is between 3 over 5 and 3. So my dy dx. So what do you want to choose? 2? You want to choose 2 also can. If I choose 1, can or not? Can, up to me. So I want to choose 1. So 3 minus 1, 3 minus 5 times 1. The whole thing divided by 2 square root of 1. Actually, down there, I don't have to handle. It's definitely positive. Positive, positive, negative. What do you get? See or not? You don't need to calculate. You want to look at it, you just think about it. Okay, now, the third region will be x greater than 3. Yep. So the dy dx. So I don't want to take such a big number. I just take a small number. 3 minus 4, I got negative. 3 minus 20, definitely negative. Divide by 2 square root of 4, this is positive. So that means if I sketch the graph, I know that my graph of dy dx will be positive. That means will be above the x-axis. And from 3 over 5 to 3, it will be below the x-axis and the rest. So if dy dx is positive, what does it tell you about y? Hello? What is dy dx? Gradient of who? Hey, gradient is slope, slope is gradient, young man. Gradient of the gradient of the function. Okay, now you see okay, I extend. My y function is square root of x 3 minus x squared. Okay. Yeah. So the sign diagram for this one is right. Am I right? Dy dx is this function and my sign diagram is three over five. 3 over 5 and 3, is it? 3 over 5 and 3. And here is positive, here is negative, here is positive. You see how I interpret that? For x between 0 and 3 over 5, the gradient of who? Gradient of y equal to square root of x times 3 minus x, the whole thing square, is positive. All right? Agree? Yeah. This implies that this means y equal to square root of x 3 minus x square is increasing. Agree? Positive gradient means it go up like that. Am I right? Positive gradient means it go up like this. Am I right? This is called positive gradient, correct? It's not a straight line, so it's increasing. So that means the sign of dy dx tell you that y is increasing or decreasing. Am I right? Because it represents the gradient of y. If the gradient of y is positive, means y is increasing. Then I can say for x between 3 over 5 and 3, the gradient of y equal to square root of x times 3 minus x square is negative. Means less than 0. So this means y equal to square root of x 3 minus x square is decreasing. Am I right? So I don't know how my graph is. But based on the sign diagram of y, what can you say about the y? The value of y equal to square root of x times 3 minus x squared is always positive. Means the graph of y is always above the x-axis. Correct? Yeah. And we know that this is called the stationary point. Stationary point means at that point, the gradient is equal to 0. So that means I roughly know that if I want to sketch the graph of y, so I know that it have to be above the x-axis. When x equal to 0, y is 0. Okay, so it start from here. Yeah, it go up, then it come down, then it go up again. So this is the point whereby the x is equal to 3/5. And this is the point whereby the graph is 3. Am I right? This is my y equal to square root of x, 3 minus x squared graph. That's why sign diagram can help you to draw the graph. That is what we are going to do on chapter 3. But we do this all with the help of our graphic calculator. So you don't have to imagine that much. You try to let the graphic calculator help you to imagine. Okay? So logic, you see, from 0 to 3/5, it is going up because the gradient is positive. After that, it go down. Then after that, it go up. So you see the shape of the graph also changes. That is where our second derivative will come in. Okay, all that, we try not to frighten ourselves. Okay, my issue here is because I'm talking about it, just let you have a look at it so that when we talk about sign diagram in chapter 3, correct, you won't get a shock. So I try to throw things a bit, because now you are familiar with the differentiation already. Are you clear? So today, something to take away. Got it? So I believe all of us should be able to draw a simple sign diagram. Yeah. So you can try all the sign diagram in your practice test. Okay. So any other question that you want me to explain from the coming test? So you don't worry, I will not come out sign diagram that is as difficult as this, okay? Okay, it's a very simple, straightforward. And I will give you the hint on Tuesday. What type of sign diagram I'm going to come out. So you better attend the class on Tuesday. Please go to exercise 5E. Two E. So what 5E you see? That is a problem with the maths teacher. 2E. Question 5. Question 5, huh? Okay. Okay, look. Question 5. You are talking about 5. Okay, let's look at 5A first. Okay, so any question given to you, look, I told you already. When you have 0 and undefined, first of all, look at the domain first. So for this, the function, since there is a square root, we know whatever in the square root must be greater than or equal to 0 because the square root is on top of the fraction. So x must be greater than or equal to 0. Okay? Is that enough? No. I have to handle the bottom, correct? So I put an and because you have to fulfill both. And 1 minus x. Can the numerator be 0?
Oh, I mean like x. X is more than 0, but since root of 0 is not defined, that should.
Who say root of 0 is undefined? You tell me 0, square root of 0 is 0. Am I right? 0 times 0 is still 0. You time how many 0 also still 0. Am I right? So it's defined. And 1 minus x cannot be equal to 0. So x cannot be equal to 1. So therefore, the domain is x. X is a member or real number. X must be greater than 0 or equal to 0. And if you don't know whether to put n or all, you just put comma, okay? That is what your high school teacher tell you. But this case should be an n. It means you have to fulfill all. And x cannot be equal to 1. Close. So that is a domain. So straight away, I know that dy dx is undefined for x greater than, x less than or equal to 0, x less than 0, and x not equal to 1. Is undefined at that part. Just based on the domain of y. Okay? Then after that, you look at your dy, you show dy dx. Do I need to show that? You have to use quotient rule, so I don't have to show part A. Okay, so for the dy dx, okay, you get that x plus 1 over square root of x and 1 minus x, the whole thing squared, correct? So this, the domain for dy dx is almost the same. But because the square root now is at the bottom, so I put x. X is a member or real number, and x must be greater than 0, and x cannot be equal to 1. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my part B. Find for what value of x dy dx equal to 0. Okay, so first part, dy over dx equal to 0. Right? So x plus 1 equal to 0. Can I say like that? X equal to negative 1. But x equal to negative 1 is not the solution, because x must be greater than 0. So is there a value of x that will make dy dx equal to 0? No. Are you clear? So here I put that, therefore, no solution. And here is my explanation. So for part 2, dy dx is undefined. Straight away, get it from here. X less than or equal to 0, and or x equal to 1. So that will be your answer for part 2, undefined. You get me? So that's why I say when you have all these questions, it's very important that you have to determine the domain for every function given to you. Then only you answer part B, 0 or undefined. Are you clear? Without the domain, don't talk about that first. You'll make yourself crazy. Yeah. So now you understand what I mean? Okay. So any more questions? Number 8. Prove the quotient rule by applying the product rule. Okay, you don't have to prove the rule. You don't have to prove the rule. Okay. I don't want to prove the rule to you. Okay, that part is okay. If whoever want to learn how to prove, I can show you later. I try not to make proving. I try not to deal with any proving at this stage. Okay, anything else? I can prove in just a minute, but I try not to. After that, you all get very frightened. This won't come out in your SAT, okay? Any more? No more? No more, huh? Yes? It's good, it's good. Those who didn't ask question means either they know everything or they don't know at all. Okay, wait. What is speed test? Yesterday, isn't it? I give you a speed test yesterday. Haha. I give you 6 questions to find the derivative. All are different form. Aha. You want me to give you one more? Okay. Yes. Any question? Exercise 2F. Exercise 2F. 4C. Okay. 4C. Okay. 4C. Y equal to. Okay. I got y equal to. Okay. I put here e to the power of 2x plus 10 to the power half. So you have to use chain rule, correct? So let me differentiate first. You are not familiar with the formula yet. The moment I see ln 3 there, I know what is your problem already. Negative half, correct? Then 2e to the power of 2x, agree? Okay, good. X equal to ln 2. Aha. Do you know when I see this and I see e? Ln 3, okay, doesn't matter. Ln 3. Okay, do you know when I see got ln, got e power something, straight away I remember this. That's why you don't know how to simplify. That's why now, if I put in here, half e to ln 3 plus 10 power negative half 2e to ln 3. I told you the ln in front must be 1, correct? So this will be half e ln 3 squared, that is 9, plus 10 to the power of negative half. And this is 2e ln 3 squared. 3 squared is 9, correct? So this will be 1 over 9 plus 10 square root times 2 times 9. Beres. Can dismiss it. Am I right? So, you see, straight away, we see when we talk about formula, we recall, yes. Oh, there's a half there too, yeah. So this will be 9 root 19 over 19, correct? Very important. Exponential. Okay, am I right? So formula must be at your fingertips. Just call, aha, call, aha. Hey, your fingertips, do you know your finger